So we're here in Music Brothers, and well, we've been allowed downstairs now, which is quite nice.
It certainly is, and there are loads of lovely, lovely guitars everywhere and music equipment here at Music Brothers. And we're also joined by Grant Pritchard.
Hello.
Thank you for letting us come and play here.
Thank you for coming here. Yeah.
We haven't played. We didn't
Brothers.
make any bad noise or anything. We've just been chatting.
Yeah.
So tell us, how long have you been a part of Music Brothers then?
So I've been here around, I think it's around a year and a half now. Music Brothers as a store has been around for about 17 years now, I think. Yeah. Wow. Clive's the owner. He's been here right from the start.
What is it about this kind of a business and working with instruments that kind of drew you in? Because I mean, you're a musician yourself, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah. Primarily a guitar player, and as you know from being here, we're primarily guitars here. We do other instruments as well, but we are primarily guitars, and there's a really, really great selection. All the members of staff that are here are players themselves, which I think is really important in a store like this because it gives it a little bit more of a personal touch from our own experiences. And I think people like having that kind of interaction with the other people in the shop.
Yeah,
and
it's when you can talk guitar.
Yeah, we can talk guitar.
Go,
it's a language.
Okay,
it's a language, yeah, absolutely.
I'm in a safe space. It's okay. They know.
Yeah. Because it's all, everybody's got a different kind of thing in their head of what they're after. You know, we've all got different sounds we're trying to emulate, or after a very specific kind of goal with the gear that we're kind of getting. And so we're here to help along the road with that. And, I think the important thing is we can all relate to being that person in the guitar shop. You've got an idea in your head and you're like, well, what do I need? And, some people have a very, very specific idea of what they want. Other people, they like to try a few different things, may have a little bit of guidance. And, we try to help as best as we can along the way.
Obviously, we live in an age where, people do turn to the internet for lots of things. Yep. And retail is tough and it's hard. And I mean, you've already mentioned the fact that the team that work here are guitarists. You love what you know, and you've got lots of advice to pass on, and it's part of the experience of coming in. But you've been here long enough to see kind of is it still, are you finding that you get repeat customers coming in? Are you getting people coming in for like the day-to-day bits of needing the bits and pieces as well as the big purchases? Do you get lots of people kind of coming back?
Yeah, there's a lot of repeat customers that we're always really, really thankful for. It's almost like there's our own little community that we've got, which is really, really great. And one of the things that we are fortunate to have is we do get a lot of people that travel from far away as well, because we're in a really fortunate position now where we've got some really, really nice pieces in the shop. Some of the more kind of, how can I word it? They're kind of more highly desirable things that you don't see too often, and people are making those trips that we're really thankful for, and it's nice that we've got that, and I think it's providing that that different kind of side of it, that more kind of indie, that independent kind of approach, because like with a lot of things, there's plenty of places to go online, but looking at a computer screen and seeing a guitar is one thing. Actually coming into a shop, seeing it in front of you, being able to hold the guitar, feel the guitar neck in your hands, actually play it, you get that experience where just click and there you go. You lose a little bit of something, and you've got that, obviously that dialogue with us in the shop. We've got that with you as a customer, and I think there's something magic about that. And for what it's worth, I think there's still a real need for that. And I don't think that's going to go away.
The other thing you've got as well is loads of different amps and things. So I suppose people can come in, and that's something that you can't recreate online. You can't get that sense of actually how it's really going to sound in your ears. And you can come in here and say, oh, I'm looking for a new guitar. This is my setup at home. This is the kind of sound I want to emulate. And you can say, right, well, this is what you need. Set up in this. And, I suppose you can create the sound that you want, which I guess you just can't do that online.
Yeah, and one of the first questions I ask people is when they say, oh, can I please try that guitar? I say, absolutely. And if it's an electric guitar, I say, what kind of sound are you after? Do you want a really nice clean sound? Do you want a little bit of grit? You want more of a rock and roll sound? And, you can see the kind of like almost relief in the face, like, or actually, yeah, I just want to really just crank the gain of the amp and hear a really heavy, dirty rock sound. And they're just like, well, yeah, absolutely, we'll do it. We can do that. And, one of the nice things about having such a variety of equipment here is that we can do that. And we want people to have that experience here.
So when it comes to where we're situated here in the middle of Shrewsbury,
yes.
How much of a connection do you have with different bands and artists from the local area? How are you on first name terms with a lot of them?
Yeah. A lot of people come here, for repeat business that are all local players. We know all the local, recording. We mentioned that a second ago, but also rehearsal studios and all of the people all of the guys that I work with. We're all gigging guitar players ourselves, so we've got our finger on the pulse of the music scene that's here locally, which I think is really important. And it's nice to recognise each other, and you might have seen each other recently at a gig or at an open mic night, a jam night, and it's nice to see those familiar faces here. And often people can kind of come in and they say, oh, didn't I see you so and so, and it works both ways, them with us with them. And it's all part of that kind of local music scene.
You've even had live music in here before, haven't you? Because Loot Fest.
That's right. This
as one of the venues, didn't it?
Yeah. So we did a little bit for Loot Fest here. We had Tony Stanton, who's a local acoustic singer-songwriter guitar player. He was here, the little set. Yeah, it was great. It's nice to have that connection as well with Loot Fest here, especially being the local music shop.
Is that something that you're going to continue doing, having artists performing here in the shop?
Yeah, so particularly with Loot Fest, we're kind of in talks at the moment of getting something set up for that again, yeah.
Oh, very exciting.
Very.
Last thing I want to ask. So someone might be listening to this and thinking, right, we're at the start of the year, I want to pick up an instrument, or maybe they've played guitar in the past, but they haven't played for a while, and they're thinking, I need to get a new guitar, but they might be intimidated, because you could understand someone would be like, there is a lot in here. And if you're not someone that is particularly, au fait with the kind of guitar that you might need for a certain stage, like what would you recommend if they were going to walk through the door? What would you say to them to kind of encourage them in the right direction to kind of make that first step to become a guitarist?
Yeah, I mean, just feel free to pop in and have a browse and say hello. There's no need to feel intimidated. I don't know, it's easier said than done, because there's a huge amount of things to start looking at, but that's where we come in to try and make it a little bit easier for you. We've got a separate room upstairs that's a little bit quiet if you just want some private time just to have a little bit of a play. We hear everybody, from people who had just picked up the guitar for the very first time, they've never had a guitar in their hands before, to session guys, pro musicians, or people playing every weekend, every week. So we hear everything. We're used to hearing everything. We just want to make you feel as comfortable as possible and just get the right instrument in your hands, so you feel inspired to play, feel inspired to practice, and you have a really, really great journey with us and with that instrument.
Does it ever feel like there's perceived snobbery?
Perceived snobbery? Definitely not from us. I don't know. I think you always hear about there being like a little bit of like competition and things with musicians and stuff. But I mean, there's no egos here. We're just happy people on the journey with us. And from what I can tell, for most people you kind of get in the shop, we're all kind of in it together. I think, with the music industry being what it is, and there being this kind of more DIY indie approach, and people being a little bit more hands-on, I think it's been quite enriching for the community of musicians, people that play instruments. And I don't know how long that's been the case, but I definitely feel more of a sense of togetherness, for lack of a better way of putting it. And that kind of filters through all the musicians and guitar players and things as well. Yeah, we're all interested in knowing what we're up to, and making sure that we're all having a good time doing it.
Well, it's a brilliant outlook to have, and be able to bring all the local musicians together in a sort of show of unity, especially at times like this when you have venues closing, and it feels harder at times to be able to be all together and
absolutely,
and know each other is a great thing. And I mean, the shop's been open for 17 years now, so you're clearly doing something very right.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll let you get back to, because there have been people dotting around the shops. We appreciate your time, to recommending guitars and resisting picking them up to play them, which I can only imagine that is a tough one. My husband's a guitarist, and if we walk into anywhere that's got any, he will immediately pick them up. So I can't imagine what this is like all day. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.